This story begins on a quiet Monday morning in downtown Atlanta. The courthouse, a massive stone building with tall white pillars, buzzed with activity. Lawyers rushed through the marble hallways, carrying files thicker than bricks. Reporters lingered outside, waiting for something newsworthy. Inside courtroom 12B, the air was heavy with tension. On the front bench sat a woman, Maya Johnson. She was in her early 30s with calm brown eyes that carried both pain and wisdom. Dressed in a modest navy suit, Maya didn't look like a criminal, nor like someone seeking trouble. She looked like someone who belonged there. But appearances in that courtroom meant very little. Judge Harrison, stern, tapping his gavel. "Order in the court. Order. I will not have disruptions in my courtroom today." Maya, rising, respectfully. "Your Honor, with all due respect, I'm not disrupting anything. I'm simply asking to speak in my own defense." Judge Harrison, irritated. "You'll speak when I allow you to, young lady. Sit down." Maya, firm but calm. "I have the right to speak. The charges against me are unjust." At this, murmurs rippled through the courtroom. Some spectators whispered, others leaned forward eagerly. The bailiff, a large white man named Officer Collins, stepped forward. His jaw was tight and his eyes were full of contempt. Officer Collins, "Judge, she's being mouthy. Want me to handle it?" Judge Harrison, "Do it. Show her what happens when people think they're smarter than the court." And then, in a shocking moment, it happened. Collins walked up to Maya, towering over her, and with the weight of the entire system behind his hand, he slapped her across the face. The sound echoed through the courtroom like a gunshot. Gasps filled the air. A woman in the gallery screamed. A journalist dropped his pen. Maya's head jerked to the side, but she did not cry. She did not shout. She simply straightened her shoulders, adjusted her suit, and stared back at the officer with unshaken dignity. Maya, quietly but powerfully, "Is this what justice looks like in your courtroom, Judge? Violence against the innocent?" Judge Harrison, furious, "You dare question me? You think you're above the law?" Maya, locking eyes with him. "No, Your Honor. I don't think I'm above the law. I think I am the law. Or at least, I will be." The room fell silent. No one understood what she meant, but her words carried weight, like thunderclouds before a storm. What the judge, the officers, and most of the courtroom didn't know was that Maya Johnson wasn't just another defendant. She was a law graduate. She was a civil rights advocate, and only a week before this hearing, her name had been submitted for consideration as a federal judge. But none of them knew that, yet. The judge ordered Maya to be removed, but before the officers could drag her away, a sharp knock echoed at the door. A clerk rushed in with a sealed envelope, handed it to the bailiff, who reluctantly gave it to the judge. The judge tore it open, read the letter, and his face drained of color. Judge Harrison, muttering, "No, this can't be. Not her." The gallery buzzed with curiosity. Maya stood tall, her cheeks still red from the slap, her eyes steady. Maya, soft but steady. "What does it say, Your Honor?" The judge hesitated, sweat beading on his forehead, because the letter carried an official seal, and inside, It contained an announcement that would shake the entire courtroom. But that was only the beginning. The slap was meant to silence her. Instead, it became the spark that would ignite a revolution inside those very walls. Because within minutes, Maya Johnson, the woman they tried to humiliate, would no longer be just another defendant. She would rise to sit in the very seat of power they tried to keep from her. To be continued. Before Maya Johnson stood in that courtroom, before the slap that echoed like a thunderclap, there was a story. A story that began in the back streets of Atlanta many years ago. Maya was born on a rainy night in 1989 in a small, rundown hospital. Her mother, Clara Johnson, was a nurse's aide. Her father, David Johnson, worked 2 jobs, one at a warehouse, the other as a janitor in a downtown office building. They didn't have much, but they had love. And for Maya, that was the foundation of everything. Growing up, Maya's world was filled with contradictions. On one hand, her parents taught her kindness, faith, and perseverance. On the other, society often reminded her she was black, poor, and a girl. 3 strikes against her in the eyes of many. At school, she was the child who brought hand-me-down clothes, who sometimes skipped lunch because money was tight. Other kids teased her. Classmate, mocking. "Hey Maya, where'd you get that dress? Out of the trash?" Young Maya, softly but firmly, "My mama made it, and it's better than anything money can buy." Even at 9 years old, she carried herself with quiet dignity. One afternoon when Maya was in 5th grade, she saw something that would change her forever. Her father came home late, tired and bruised. He had been mistreated by a supervisor at work, called names, threatened with firing for no reason. Young Maya, worried, "Daddy, why didn't you fight back?" David Johnson, sighing, sitting heavily in a chair. "Baby girl, sometimes fighting back means you lose your job, and if I lose my job, we can't eat." Young Maya, angry, fists clenched. "But that's not fair. He can't just do that." David Johnson, looking into her eyes. "No, it's not fair. But that's the world we live in. Unless someone like you grows up and changes it." Those words burned into Maya's heart. That night, she stayed awake staring at the ceiling, dreaming of a world where fairness wasn't a luxury, where justice belonged to everyone. By the time she reached high school, Maya was no ordinary teenager. She worked evenings at the library, not just to earn money, but to feed her hunger for knowledge. She read everything: history, politics, philosophy, and most of all, law. The dusty books of civil rights cases became her companions. She learned about Thurgood Marshall, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, Angela Davis. In debates at school, she was unstoppable. Teacher, smiling after a heated classroom debate. "Maya, you argue like a lawyer already. Maybe one day we'll see you in court." Maya, determined. "Not just in court, ma'am. One day I'll sit where the judge sits." Her classmates laughed then, but her words were not a joke. At 17, tragedy struck. Her father fell ill. Lung cancer from years of working around toxic chemicals at the warehouse. Medical bills piled high. Insurance refused to cover treatments. Maya watched her father, the man who taught her dignity, fade away in a hospital bed. David Johnson, weak, whispering to Maya, "Baby girl, don't just fight for me. Fight for everyone who can't fight for themselves." Maya held her hand as he passed away. She was shattered, but inside her grief, a flame was lit. A flame that would never die. Despite her pain, Maya earned a scholarship to Howard University. Life in college wasn't easy. She often worked night shifts at diners, sometimes skipping meals to pay for books. In classrooms, she was underestimated. Some professors questioned her abilities. Professor Green, condescending, "Law is a tough field, Miss Johnson. Are you sure you're cut out for it?" Maya, calm, staring directly at him. "I'm not just cut out for it, I was born for it." And she proved it. She graduated top of the class, not because she was privileged, but because she was